The tares amongst the wheat. In the Bible, that's what they're called. But if you look in the book of Enoch, they have the book that has been removed from the Bible. They're called the children of Cain. That's a not more accurate name for them. So Cain made children, yeah? And the children of Cain are supposed to, what their job is to make cities and churches and temples and keep you in the cities. So when you're in the city, you're feeding Cain, you're vapor. And as long as you're in the city, that's great. So you see the 1916 revolution here in Ireland, the tares took over, the children of the Danann, and they went and lived in the fields because they know that if they live in the fields, they live a bit longer than us because it's more healthy. But if you try and leave the city, if you try and walk through the fields or what like that, you'll be arrested and brought back and thrown back into the POW camp that is the city. The tares amongst the wheat. They're growing, the farmers are the tares in the wheat. Some of them, not all of them. So when you the children of Cain, so they want to keep you in the city because you feed, they're like a parasitic entity. Not all the farmers, I'm not saying all of them, but the tares amongst the wheat. So if you try and leave the city on foot and go walking through a farmer's field, he said, what are you doing on my land? Get the fuck off my land. There was no commonage left, so you are basically, you're surrounded. Like custard at the last stand. You're surrounded by loads of people who don't want you to leave the city, who want you to stay in the city. But they don't want to live in the city themselves. And they don't want you to grow. And they work for the government in Brussels, the EU, the European Union, the United Nations, the uneducated. So what they do is they grow a certain amount of food crops. The mainstay of our people used to be oatmeal. It was made, well, we used to eat oatmeal. It was made out of oaks, and had lots of minerals and vitamins in it and stuff. So as long as there's no oak trees on this island, we can't actually survive outside of the cities, because you can always go into an oak forest and pick up a few oaks and save them, piles of them till next year, a few oak seeds, and then make oak porridge out of them. All they do is roast them, grind them, and then steep them in water for a couple of days, and they're good to go. That'll keep you alive, and that'll keep anybody alive. That's like eating porridge, big bowl of porridge every day you could have. But that was like, so the tares amongst the wheat. You're in a POW camp now. They're even fluoridating you. They keep you in the city and they pump you full of fluoride. Fluoride was invented for the Jews in the concentration camps, and they used it in the gulags. So they're basically, you're in the city, you're drinking the water, you're in the gulag. Anywhere there's tap, see this tap over here? They used to go down to the water table. The water table is clean water that comes up from wells and all. Now they switched them all off because they want you to be fluoridated and kept stupid and dumbed down. And if you try and leave the city, the tares will catch you in the fields, and they'll either give you to the guard or they'll do something to you. Who knows? But a tare knows it's a tare. It won't admit to you it's a tare, because it's a hybrid. Hybrid children of Cain. Cain slew Abel with a rock. That's a metaphor for building churches. He went off and built city, and he slew Abel with a rock. Abel was the one that walked on the land. So Cain slew Abel. So when you try and leave the city, say everyone was to leave the cities tomorrow and pull down all the churches and go back to the land, the tares will be out with their shotguns trying to blow you away. So you think you're doing yourself a favour by eating organic food and stuff like that. You pay that little bit extra for organic food so you live a bit longer. Well, why not live for a couple of thousand years? Why not live for hundreds of years and thousands of years? All you have to do is pull down the rock-cut temples, all of them, and then they disintegrate. And what would be the point? So you go to, just think about how far of length do you go to get yourself some organic food and organic grub and drink clean water and stuff like that. You'll do all that, but you won't take the next step to living long, healthy lives in the faith, and that's to pull down the rock-cut temples. Will you take that step? Are you brave enough? Are you really brave enough to live? Or are you in the Catholic death cult? Do you walk with the cult of the death? You died when they died, worn out by temples and idolatry, and ruled by tares. You're surrounded, you are, like custard in the last stand. In all the fields of the sons of the blue shirts and the brown shirts. You've done the Ishtar Rise in the 1916 revolution. And what they do is they bring in loads of foreign people who love them, and they pay them loads of money. So then those people that work for them, they buy them, they go back to their own country where they come from, where they're probably very poor, and they live like kings. They're really wealthy. But you get feck all. You get €200. You'd be lucky to get a job, you would. Because all the foreigners are coming in and taking the jobs, because you just get €200. So if you say you rebelled in school, this is how they do it. Say you rebelled in school and you said, I'm not listening to you shit, and you were listening to the teachers lying to you and all that, and you thought, bollocks that, I'm not going to school, I'm not listening to you, fuck off, and you left school. You had a little bit of a choice there. You could go into criminality, or you could be a peasant, a beggar. That's your choice when you leave school. But all of the stuff they're teaching you in school is lies, and you know that. And you were wide enough to know that, and you left school, and now you're targeted. They have loads of foreigners on the shops at the doors watching out for people that look like you, because you look a certain way, and you're after being pointed out. You've been targeted since birth by the school. You're actually what the Vatican calls, because you won't listen to the education, the United Nations education. You're actually a heretic. From the day you answered them back in school, you're a heretic. You're a target now. You're to be strung out on drugs. You're to be murdered by a gang, or shot or something, or you're to be thrown in jail for the rest of your life and out there on drugs. But you're a heretic. One way or another, they want rid of you, because you didn't listen to the school. You didn't let them school you. You wouldn't listen to the teachings. You got kicked out of school for not listening to the teachers' bollocks, because whether you know or not, everything they teach is bollocks in them schools. And that's all there is to it.